Hello folks, and welcome back to True Crime Phenomenon. This is Josh coming back to you with another video. Today we're going to be looking at the interview with Officer Johnathen Reeves, Part 1. Now, Johnathen Reeves was interviewed by Sergeant Justin Wall with the Professional Standards Division on April 28th of 2021 at 9:57 a.m. So a little background for newcomers. Jeremy Dewitte is a serial police impersonator going back to his first arrest for impersonating a police officer in 1998. For more details, go to my playlist and find the video titled Jeremy Dewitte, First Arrest Paperwork, The Saga Begins. Now, Jeremy was under investigation by the Orange County Sheriff's Office. Now, to combat this investigation, Jeremy would send his employees to the Professional Standards Division to make complaints about Sergeant Vidler and Corporal Ramsey. At one point, Jeremy edited some videos together and gave them to his friend and attorney, Michael Breen, to take to the Sheriff's Office. Michael Breen then called Orange County Sheriff John Mina, who, by the way, is good friends with Michael Breen, and directed him to the Professional Standards Division. Michael Breen was then interviewed by Sergeant Vasquez and Sergeant Mitchell. Now, Sergeant Mitchell alleges that Michael Breen was going into business with Jeremy Dewitte. Please see my Internal Affairs playlist for all those interviews. I've got Michael Breen, Sergeant Mitchell, Ellis Mitchell, and Sergeant Miguel Vasquez, plus plenty more and lots more to come. The arrest that allegedly got Sergeant Vidler fired was for carrying a concealed weapon. And essentially what he was doing was concealing the identity of the weapon, not the fact that he had a weapon there. This is the Internal Affairs interview with the other officer on scene with Sergeant Vidler. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the other side.
Sergeant Justin Wall, the Orange County Sheriff's Office Professional Standards Section. Today's date is April 28th, 2021, and the current time is 9:57 a.m. This interview is being conducted at the Office of Professional Standards located at 2500 West Colonial Drive. I'm interviewing. Can you just state your rank and name for me?
Master Deputy Johnathen Reeves.
Also present in the room is Sergeant Michael Harmon of the Professional Standards Section. Deputy Reeves, are you aware that I'm recording this interview?
Yes.
Has anyone threatened, coerced, or offered you any preferential treatment to give this statement?
No.
Are you under the influence of drugs or alcohol that may impair your testimony?
No.
All right, raise your right hand so I can swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you have to provide will be true and correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, as we kind of just discussed, I'm conducting an investigation into a incident that occurred on March 23rd. 2021, in which you were a backup deputy for a traffic stop involving Sergeant Vidler. Your body-worn camera reflects that you were there for this traffic stop on I-4.
Yep.
Do you have a recollection of that incident?
It's a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
The traffic stop I'm aware of.
Can you just kind of explain the circumstances of how you became involved in that stop? What was it that you guys were doing as like a detail, or were you guys
just working regular I-4 in the areas of Michigan I-4?
Like a traffic, just your regular
aggressive
traffic
driving
duties?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you specifically looking for Mr. Dewitte?
No.
So was it like I think there was some mention in body-worn camera of like an aggressive driving detail. Is that something specific you guys were doing, or is that
it's just a normal when we go work? We're as part of the aggressive driving unit, we just go work, so we say, let's go work aggressive driving. Just go up on the interstates, surface streets, wherever.
Okay.
Wherever it leads to.
Right before the stop, just kind of explain to me what you guys were engaged in.
On I-4, the area of Michigan.
Okay. Running radar or just looking for...
Aggressive, yeah, just aggressive driving.
Okay. Were you with Sergeant Vidler?
No.
You just happened to be in the area?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you get notified to
There was a phone call. We will call back, talk back and forth on the phone. And
a phone call from Sergeant Vidler?
I don't know if he called me or I called him, but we were up there discussing.
Okay. And what did he say?
He said, I have Metro State on I-4.
Okay. So what did you do?
I was on I-4 and could see them further up with the bright yellow polo shirts.
Okay. And
in the far distance, I was a good ways back in traffic.
And did Sergeant Vidler request you to come over as backup?
He didn't really request me, but I knew he was gonna. I knew that because we've been told to not approach them, essentially have a backup. So I started making my way up that way.
Okay. So you knew that Sergeant Vidler was going to want backup for the traffic stop?
Yes. If he was going to do a traffic stop, yes.
All right. So just kind of describe to me what you saw when you arrived.
When I got up to where he was at, I saw him activate his lights, and traffic started slowing down. He moved over. They all moved over, and I came up, and I had activated my camera, and saw that when I got up there, he was out of the car and had him at gunpoint.
Do you know why he had him at gunpoint at that point? What are you thinking?
I'm guessing he had charges on him. When he showed me later on, he showed me the gun that Jeremy had on him. It looked like a firearm in the holster.
Okay. So what actions did you take? You saw Sergeant Vidler with his firearm drawn.
Right.
What did you do?
I got out of my car. I heard him giving commands. I started calling out of the traffic stop, telling him that we had 2 bikes stopped on I-4. And I walked up there and he said, secure him.
Okay.
So I secured him in handcuffs, yep.
And when you say him, it's...
ended up being Dewitte.
Mr. Dewitte?
Yep.
Did you know it was Mr. Dewitte?
No.
You are familiar with Metro State?
Yes.
And are you familiar with their employees?
As far as what? By face?
Yeah. I mean, you recognize most of them or all of them, or could you tell it was Jeremy?
No, could not. He had when I got out of the car, he had the helmet on, which they both had helmets on. They both were wearing identical uniforms, and he had a face covering on.
Okay. Have you met Jeremy Dewitte before?
I have.
Okay. And there was another motorcycle that was stopped as well?
Yes.
Did you know him?
No.
Do you know him now? Do you know who he was?
No.
All right. So you roll up, you see Sergeant Vidler with his gun out on Mr. Dewitte. He tells you to secure him. Did you see a weapon on Mr. Dewitte?
I saw there was because he was at this time when I walked up, he was prone in the prone position, face down. I could see the magazine of I could see a duty belt, a holster on the right side with a magazine. How do I put it? A firearm in his holster with the flat part of a magazine is what I could see.
Okay.
So a firearm in the holster and something in the magazine well, if that makes better sense.
Okay. And what did you presume it to be?
A firearm.
Okay. Have you stopped Mr. Dewitte before?
I have.
How many times?
Since I've been on motors, probably Dewitte himself, maybe 3-4 times.
Okay.
In the last 10 years.
And on how many of those times is he carrying something in his holster?
I have no idea, because I have no idea.
Is that something you would recognize?
I would recognize, yes, him wearing a duty belt, because I've seen him wear have a duty belt on with a firearm, have a duty belt on with no holster. I've seen there's been several different configurations with his duty belt.
Okay.
I've seen him with a weapon in the holster.
You have seen him?
Yes.
How many times would you guess?
Including this one, probably 3.
And
two or 3.
Are these all on traffic stops?
No.
Okay.
I saw him out here on 50 one day. Not 50, John Young one day.
Okay. And he had a weapon in the holster?
He had a weapon in the holster, yes.
Okay. When you see that, what do you presume?
When I see that, I presume it's a weapon.
And just to be clear, do you think it's a pepper ball gun, or do you think it's a firearm?
On the previous, are you talking about this instance or the previous instance?
The previous instances.
Previous instances, you could see on the back of the magazine. If you look at Sergeant Harmon's magazine there,
Okay.
if he's sitting there, put your right there in the center of the magazine, where his finger's at, you'll see I want to call it a notch, maybe a knob would be a better way to put it, where there's something extending, where that part is flat, there's something extending out.
Okay.
I have seen him wearing that.
Okay. And so what do you presume when you see that?
I presume, based on that, I presume that's not likely, I presume it's a weapon, not necessarily a firearm.
Okay.
Based on that configuration, that appearance.
So whenever you have stopped him, what actions do you take? I mean, have you ever put him down at gunpoint?
I didn't. No.
In the previous times?
I have not stopped him. I've seen him. I have not stopped him with, to my recollection, I have not stopped him with a firearm or a weapon until being involved with this situation.
Okay. But you've seen him.
Correct.
With a weapon.
Correct.
Have you ever put him down at gunpoint?
I have not. No.
Previously.
No.
Why not?
Because there was that time I just explained, and then there was a time when I was on aggressive driving the first time, and we followed. There's 3. I don't know if he was one of them, but there was 3 guys that I followed down I-4. Down I-4, ended up going southbound on John Young, and did a traffic stop once I had several other people with me.
Mm-hmm.
To do a traffic stop on them at John Young and I believe Oak Ridge. But in that situation, I had previously seen them riding with firearms on their holsters. I don't know if it was DeWitte, but I had seen them with firearms.
Okay. But specifically with DeWitte, you've seen him with a weapon in the holster. You presume it's how do you know it's not a firearm? You just presume because of that knob?
In that situation, I presume because of the knob it was not.
Okay.
But that's also not a risk that I'm willing to take, to presume that every time it's not a firearm.
But you've never approached him about it, or
no?
Have you ever had any discussions with Mr. DeWitte about what are you carrying?
No. I have not.
I mean, is that what is your knowledge of Mr. DeWitte carrying pepper ball guns? Has there been discussion about that before?
Not with me, no. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Other than what I've seen on the multiple YouTube videos of him screaming about it and him screaming about it on the traffic stop.
Right. Okay. So I guess my question, what I was leading up to is, what was there anything different about this stop from the others that caused concern for you or Sergeant Vidler that you know of regarding this firearm versus pepper ball gun? What, if you've encountered him before or you've seen him before, what was different about this stop that caused Sergeant Vidler to put him down?
There's no way I can't answer that. That's something you'd have to ask Sergeant Vidler.
Well, I'm asking you for your perception if there was anything different for you.
When I approached him to secure him,
mm-hmm.
It appeared like a firearm in his holster. So that's what would have been different.
Did you see that little knob or knobs
No.
that you described previously?
No, it was flat. It looked like a if you can sit up where his is, where the Glock's is almost a perfect square.
Mm-hmm.
I think the SIGs have a little bit of a the shape is different, where it has a part where you can actually maybe put your thumb there to pull it out if you had to. It had that different of a shape.
Okay.
So it appeared to me. That's what appeared to me to be a firearm.
Okay.
When I saw it.
Have you and Sergeant Vidler had any discussions about Mr. Dewitte carrying pepperball guns? Do you remember anything like that?
Not in depth. It's no.
Okay. I guess I'm still just trying to figure out what was different this time. And I know you can't answer for Sergeant Vidler. I'm aware of that. But if he's been stopped before with pepperball guns, maybe not by you, but by other people, I guess I would presume that in motors, and this may be completely off base, but I would presume you guys have talked about it. So that's where I'm just trying to figure out if he's been carrying this pepperball gun for years, as he alleges. What was different this time? To your knowledge.
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Okay.
This I wasn't close enough to see him until I got there to secure him.
Okay.
To be able to see the firearm, to be able to see that configuration, to be able to see the back of the magazine, how it was flat.
Okay.
Like I said the other times, it's almost apparent that there's a knob or whatever you want to call it, something protruding out the back of the magazine.
Mm-hmm. But that could be a firearm as well, right?
Yeah. Like I said, to me that's an irrational assumption to make that it's not a firearm, when everything we are taught is to
correct
assume it's a firearm till you don't.
All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for the Officer Reeves Internal Affairs interview, part 1 of 3. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the other side.